These challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Our state legislatures should enjoy similar, just like we have financial independence here at the national level. Our state legislatures should enjoy similar.
Senate President canvasses for financial independence for state legislatures and the judiciary,
which includes N-Power program, conditional cash transfer program, national homegrown school feeding,
and Senate Committee on Special Duties advocates for the establishment of a National Social Investment Agency. On resumption from the break taken for the gubernatorial and state houses of assembly elections last week, the Senate President commended President Muhammadu Buhari for signing into law 16 out of the 35 bills passed by the National Assembly in its constitutional amendment efforts. We have a report on those bills passed and what the Senate intends to do with the others that did not get the President's assent. In other reports, presidential nominees for various positions were screened by committees of the Senate. Details of these and more coming up shortly. I am Hussaina Amina Aboki. Stay tuned for the full program after this short break.
The Senate will send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that.
Raise a matter of urgent public importance.
And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up
for a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Thanks for being with us. Senate President Ahmed Lawan has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for signing into law 16 out of the 35 bills passed by the National Assembly and presented to him for assent. He gave the commendation on Tuesday, the 21st of March 2023, while welcoming his colleagues from the break taken for the gubernatorial and state houses of assembly elections. He enumerated some of the bills signed by the President as follows.
Fifth alteration number 1. The bill seeks to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to change the names of Afikpo North and Afikpo South local government areas, and for related matters.
Others are Bill seeking the regulation of the first session and inauguration of members-elect of the National and State Assemblies. Bill seeking the provision of the time period for the determination of pre-election petitions, election petitions and appeals, and Bill seeking the provision of financial independence for state houses of assembly and state judiciary. He then spoke in favor of financial independence for state legislature and judiciary.
Just like we have financial independence here at the national level, our state legislatures should enjoy similar independence so that they are cut off from the apron strings, forgive me for using this word, of the legislature in the states to the executive arms in their various states.
He added that the legislature would engage the executive on the 19 bills not signed to determine which way to go about them. He also commended the 9th legislature for the success of the 2023 general elections achieved through the instrumentality of the Electoral Act it passed, which enabled INEC to deploy technology in its conduct alongside the provision of sufficient funds to the Commission.
This 9th National Assembly has also provided, together with our sister chamber, the required funds for the elections to be conducted. And therefore, with an Electoral Act amended, we have been able to contribute our quota in the area of improving the electoral processes for elections.
Let's take a break from plenary to open our notebook for the subject of the week. Keep watching.
A legislative Hansard is the transcript of the daily legislative proceeding of a parliament, particularly within Britain and other Commonwealth countries. It is named after a British printer, Thomas Cousin Hansard, the first official printer of the British Parliament. In the Nigerian Senate, it is produced verbatim by the official reporters of the Senate, who are positioned in the chamber to monitor legislative proceedings. One of the basic advantages of the Hansard is that it helps in the recording of legislative documents as well as archiving. And because chamber proceedings are in most cases open to the public, the Hansard affords the lawmakers the opportunity to assess their past contributions on the floor with a view to improving upon them, among other things.
Welcome back. Several bills were presented for second reading on Wednesday, the 22nd of March 2023. Let's take highlights of these bills alongside other matters deliberated upon during plenary. The report is compiled and presented from our studio.
One of the bills, the Nigerian College of Taxation and Fiscal Studies Establishment Bill 2023, was sponsored by the Deputy Whip of the Senate, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi.
With the Nigerian College of Taxation and Fiscal Studies, it is envisioned that Nigeria will achieve adequacy of human capital development in the areas of taxation and fiscal matters. The college, when established, will, in keeping with the needs of our society, provide support to the Nigerian tax system towards the achievement of the objective of the national tax policy.
If we allow this college to be established, it will train enough personnel who will be used to widen the tax net, particularly in the informal sector, where huge amount of money is being earned without being taxed.
The bill scaled second reading and was referred to the Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service to report back in 4 weeks. Another bill for second reading same day was the Nigerian Content in Programs, Contracts, Science, Engineering, Technology and Innovation Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Sani Musa. He gave some of the objectives of the bill as follows.
1. To provide for the establishment of a National Council for monitoring, evaluation and implementation of the Presidential Executive Order No. 5. 2. To provide for the aims and objectives of the Council, which among others include the promotion of technology development as a policy in Nigeria and propagating the vital role of science, technology and innovation in national economic development, particularly in the area of promoting made in Nigerian goods.
This bill will assist in the import substitution strategy of the federal government. That is to say that we should, as much as possible, produce what we import into Nigeria.
With this, the bill scaled second reading and was referred to the Senate Committee on Science and Technology to report back in 4 weeks.
The headers also carried out other attacks of terror such as burning.
Senator Gabriel Suswan came under matters of urgent national importance to report alleged invasion, massacre and displacement of thousands of peasant farmers in parts of Kwande local government area of Benue State by suspected herdsmen between the 2nd and 4th of March 2023.
Over 100 persons were reportedly killed, while several others suffered gunshot injuries. The headers also carried out other attacks of terror such as burning of food barns, destructions of crops, destructions of places of worship, residential buildings, etc., etc., all allegedly intended to overpower the targeted villages and forcefully displace people from the ancestral lands.
What I want to add here, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is the significance of the location being a border community. And I think this brings to question all the experiences we've had across most of the border communities. So I think, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to urge that the security architecture which this chamber this institution has been talking about for a very long time, will need to be looked into much more dispassionately.
Among the resolutions adopted were to urge the federal government to direct the police and army to beef up security in the affected areas with a view to forestalling more attacks. Urge the federal government to direct NEMA to immediately send relief materials to the affected victims. Urge the federal government to establish a border post in the area to check the influx of criminals from Cameroon because the area shares boundary with Cameroon, as well as urge the federal government to acquire more attack helicopters to forestall the challenge on insecurity.
Inside the Senate continues with a public hearing on the National Social Investment Program Establishment Bill 2022 by the Committee on Special Duties, which held on Tuesday the 21st of March 2023. The report on the hearing alongside other committee activities are compiled and presented from our studio.
The National Social Investment Program Establishment Bill 2022 is an executive bill. It scaled second reading on Tuesday, the 6th December 2022 and was referred to the Senate Committee on Special Duties for more legislative action, one of which was the public hearing which held last week Tuesday, the 21st of March 2023. Declaring the hearing open, Senate President Nat'l stated that the bill is in the category of proposal geared towards growing Nigeria's institutional ability to support citizens towards societal stability and progress. He was represented at the hearing by the Deputy Whip of the Senate, Senator Ali Sabi Abdullahi, who gave an insight into the bill.
It is tailored towards consolidating a program through a robust regulatory mechanism that is resilient and could stand the test of time given the ever-increasing challenges and realities. The social order is dynamic and requires us to regularly initiate programs and policies that will respond to new developments, especially when they are for the benefit of the mass of the people.
The committee chairman, Senator Yusuf Abubakar Yusuf, spoke on those that the bill will benefit.
The beneficiaries of the program under the Act include unemployed persons, including unskilled persons, vulnerable widows, orphans and children, persons with disabilities, vulnerable older persons, and such other categories as the National Social Investment Board may, with the approval of the President, determine from time to time. The legislation would be one of the legacy legislations of the 9th Senate, in line with its people-focused agenda.
I must put on record.
Speaking in support of the bill, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, averred that the establishment of the agency will consolidate on the good work of the ministry alongside resolving a lot of humanitarian and security challenges in Nigeria. She was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Muhammad Sani Warzo.
If this one is carefully packaged, believe me, even the unrest, the insecurity, the difficulties of humanity that people are facing, they will be cleared if we handle this very well. If we make the mistake of not creating an agency out of this good work that has been done or put in place, we are likely to lose this goodwill. I am of the Department of Agricultural Extension.
With this, the way was paid for contributions by various stakeholders. The DG of the National Senior Citizen Center made a case for the representation of senior citizens and the disabled on the board of the agency when established.
When you look at the board, listed the ministries and the agencies that should be on the board of the National Senior Citizens. The National Senior Citizens as an agency and the National and the Commission for Persons with Disabilities excluded. I think that because these agencies have the statutory mandates for these poor and vulnerable people, I think they should sit on the board.
Other stakeholders expressed support for the bill.
This bill is timely, lofty, and important for the institutionalization of the country's effort at poverty mitigation.
and to ensure inclusive growth and shared prosperity, which will help us to address the issue of social investment versus social intervention.
A former Chief Executive Officer of the National Poverty Alleviation Program raised issues on the section of the bill having to do with the name of the agency.
The first section is Section 3, subsection 1. Is it National Social Investment Program or National Social Intervention Program? It's very important in the sense, are all these intervention programs investments? So answer is no. Not all are investment. But what is the target? The target is to ensure that even if most of these programs, the intervention are not investment, the target is at the end of the day, it should be a sort of encouraging investment.
He cautioned that the right name be adopted to avoid future pitfalls in the legal framework of the program when established. Other stakeholders were in full support of the bill, following which the committee promised to compile a report for presentation to the Senate plenary. In another committee room, the Committee on Judiciary was on duty, during which it screened 2 presidential nominees for various positions. The nominees include Honorable Justice Stanley Adekunle Lawal as the President of the FCT Customary Court of Appeal, as well as Mr. Antonio Ojukwu San as the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission. Kickstarting the exercise, the committee chairman, Senator Bamidele Okweyemi, spoke on what necessitated the nomination by President Muhammadu Buhari.
This appointment became necessary following the retirement of Honorable Justice Abazi Musa Abubakar Sadiq, after attaining the mandatory retirement age of 65 years, as provided in Section 291, Sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as altered. Similarly, the reappointment of Mr. Anthony Ojukwu, SANOFR, was made by Mr. President pursuant to Section 7, subsections 1 and 2 of the National Human Rights Commission Amendment Act 2010, which provides as follows. 1. There shall be for the Commission an Executive Secretary who shall be a legal practitioner with no less than 20 years post-qualification experience and requisite experience in human rights issues. B, a person of proven integrity, and be the Chief Executive and Accounting Officer of the Commission.
With this, the opportunity came for the nominees to speak on their plans. The nominee for the President of the FCT Customary Court of Appeal says he will focus on the accelerated adjudication of cases by the conventional courts, which he said will be enhanced if they are relieved of family and matrimonial cases that should be handled by customary and Sharia courts.
All family issues all over the world are related to customs and Islamic law. Are we talking of marriage? Our custom comes to play. Islamic law comes to play. Are we talking of inheritance? Our custom comes to play. Islamic law comes to play. So if that is the case, I did not see any reason why the Customary Court of Appeal cannot try all matrimonial causes. And I don't see any reason why the Sharia Court of Appeal cannot deal with all matrimonial causes in relation to Islamic law. Why we still keep matrimonial causes to High Court alone to add to their workload? There is no way we can avoid delay.
For the nominee for the position of the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, he spoke on some of the actions he initiated during his first tenure, which were against human rights abuses mostly perpetrated by the police.
It was common for a police officer would tell you that I'll deal with you and nothing will happen. I'll kill you and nothing will happen. So we descended on these complaints. We instituted this investigation panel on SARS even before the end SARS protests of 2020. Immediately I came into office in 2018, the first panel of inquiry I instituted was on SARS. And we made recommendations to government, including the disbandment of SARS, police reforms, and so on and so forth. And luckily, because these recommendations were on ground, when the end SARS protests erupted in 2020, government had a quick solution to them.
Senator representing the FCT attested to the performance of Honorable Justice Stanley Adekunle Lawal.
He has served very well at the customary court of appeal, and to the best of my knowledge, he has been on acting capacity, and so far he's discharged his responsibility with such level of integrity. For me, Mr. Chairman, for somebody who have served in acting capacity and we've not had any petition or anybody querying or asking questions or doubting his integrity to the discharge of his responsibility, I would have said that if not for the fact that the committee will want to hear more from him or from my fellow colleagues, I would have said he should take a bow and go, having discharged his responsibility.
Another committee member also spoke on the person of Mr. Anthony Ojukwu San as the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission.
I've had the privilege of working with Mr. Ojukwu for the past 4 years, and we've really enjoyed the relationship. He has committed himself to this job.
After more interactions, the committee chairman promised to present their findings to the Senate plenary for more legislative action.
Up next in our program is the profile segment. Our Senator of the Week is Senator Akon Eyakenyi.
Senator Akon Eyakenyi represents Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District under PDP. She attended government primary school in Uko Uikim for her first school leaving certificate in 1974 and Methodist Teachers College Oron for her grade 2 teacher's certificate in 1979. She also attended University of Calabar for her National Certificate of Education in 1986, Bachelor of Education in 1990, Master of Education in 2010, and her doctorate degree in 2014. Senator Akon Eyakenyi served in various capacities in the education sector of Cross River and Akwa Ibom states from 1986 to 1999. He was also Commissioner of Industry in Akwa Ibom State in the administration of then-Governor Victor Atta in 2000. Chairman, Akwa Ibom State Technical Schools Board in the administration of the then-Governor Godswill Akpabio in 2013, and the Minister of Lands and Urban Development during the President Goodluck Jonathan's administration in 2014. Senator Akon Eyakenyi contested and won election to the Senate in the 2019 general elections to represent Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District on the platform of PDP. In the Red Chamber, she is the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education and a member of several other committees. Her legislative interests include education, youth and women empowerment, and agricultural development.
This brings us to the end of this week's episode of Inside the Senate. Join us next week for another edition. Thanks for watching.